On this video manual of Message Crawler, we're going to talk about search and replace. Yes, search and replace. This is probably going to be the least watched video because everyone knows what search and replace does, but there may be a few tricks here that you did not know. Let's start talking about it. And search and replace will, well, do what it says. You know, you have a spelling issue like John is misspelled. You can search and replace it with the proper spelling of the name. A couple of things to know about this. First, this tool will replace data in place. So if you made a search and replace and you made a mistake, well, there is no way to undo it. It doesn't copy data to a new field. So you would have to reload data from the original source if you were to make a mistake. Second thing to know, this tool supports regular expressions. And what you can do with regular expressions is clean up your data. And this is something you may not have expected search and replace to do, but it does. One of the examples of cleaning up your data is if you have names and phone numbers, and let's say names all show up differently. So what you can do is use regular expressions to take only the numbers from that field and remove all the letters. And this way you'll be left with only the phone numbers, and this make your data more consistent or more standardized. And then you can take further steps on this data, such as deduplication or whatever else you may want to do, or creating a conversation for that matter. So let's jump in Message Crawler and do a little bit of hands-on search and replacing. Yes, I know it sounds exciting, but I'm sure once you see regular expressions, you're going to appreciate it. All right, let's take a look at search and replace. So let's find something we can replace. Let's mess with the to field here. I'm going to go to my search and replace, pick my to field, and let's say we have we, and we want to replace it to something like that, right? And as you expect, we have this replaced. It's not a surprise to you. I'm sure you've used search and replace before. Again, the other thing to know here is we did not create a new field. We replaced right in place, just like any other tools work. In Message Crawler, I generally create a new field for data, but here we may be performing multiple search and replaces on the same field, so it doesn't make sense to make new fields every time. But let me show you what you can do to clean up your field using regular expressions. So let's go to search and replace. We're going to pick our to field, and I'm going to say use regular expressions. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of all the characters except numbers. So we're going to do this, that. We're going to say 0 through 9 and the like so. So this is what we're going to specify: square bracket, caret, 0-9, close square bracket. And let's click on search and replace. And what it did now is it only left numbers. All the characters, you see the plus symbol, all the brackets, everything disappeared. So now if you're working with something that contains phone numbers, like for example here, this would be very useful in cleaning up your data. Why are we seeing this number 2 here? Well, that's because we had a user with an email address and not a phone number. So this is why this number 2 stayed right here. And this also shows that you can't just run a cleanup on any data without understanding what's actually in it, because this exact step would not work well. And in fact, it did not work well for data that contains emails. What you want to do is run maybe a name normalization and make sure your names are consistent and they have phone numbers, and then you can perform a cleanup on that. And that's search and replace. Yes, I know it's very simple, but I think you'll find regular expressions to be a very powerful tool inside search and replace. That's it for this chapter of Message Crawler video manual. I will see you in another chapter.